Good evening, everybody, or it'll be good morning to you guys when you're watching it. But we're here with actually going to sound surreal to you, Colin, the former Arthurlie manager, Colin Reilly. Before we get going, a shout out to our proud sponsors, VSN Sport, top quality teamwear suppliers at fantastic prices. Call them today on 0141 883 7612. And you can ask for Gary. He's the guy with a big beard that you'll see at every single ground in the west of Scotland. Top guy, and a fantastic product at VSN. Okay, so we're with Colin Reilly, the former manager of Arthurlie. It's a bit surreal, and it's probably been a bit of a whirlwind 24 hours. We obviously came to light yesterday, and at the time, Colin, you probably admit that it's raw, and you posted what I feel was probably a very honest statement for you, albeit you were probably quite angry. I suppose the best place to start, Colin, is to ask how you are, mate.
Yeah, I mean, all good. Obviously, last night was there was a lot of anger in me, to be honest. But I'm good. I've had a good night's sleep. I've got a clear conscience. So yeah, ready to rock. Bit disappointing the way it happened, but I guess you take it. That's football. You dust yourself down, get ready to go again. I'm not on here to open my mouth, let my belly rumble, and say all bad things. I've got a lot more professionalism about me than that. So happy to have an open discussion. My statement just provided facts. I'm not on here otherwise to speak about facts either. I'm not here to throw mud at anyone. I think it's only right that provided the platform to let Arthurlie fans know the situation of how things transpired and what's been going on, maybe not in too much detail, but at a high level at least, and ultimately protect my players.
Colin, I think you said something very important there, especially from my side of it, given that I've spent 15 years of my life in Barhead, quite close proximity, in actual fact, very close proximity to the fact a ball landed in my front garden one time for one of your games. I think it's important that you've mentioned there that you have a platform to get across to the fans and your players, kind of maybe just how things did transpire. Pyramid Promotions, the West of Scotland build-up show, isn't here to diss teams, to diss players, to diss committees. It's just know what we want to do. We want to give guys in the West of Scotland, managers, players, committees, the opportunity to afford themselves a platform to get their views across. Not only, obviously, we don't want to be bringing you on to discuss stacking from a job, mate, but ultimately we want to give you guys a platform. So that is exactly what we're doing today. So, Colin, just before we come on here, you mentioned that it was business as normal yesterday. You had a meeting with your players.
Yeah.
You did what you did, and then we're here less than 24 hours later. It's quite wild. Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was quite a surreal sort of evening, to be honest. Training as normal, sort of training at Palace Arts. I pulled the boys in half an hour earlier, and we had a real good open discussion, open book. I opened up the discussion, just sort of made my feelings known of where we are, how I've maybe allowed certain standards to drop. And listen, the players, the only way you can improve, right, is accepting constructive criticism, giving people that platform to speak and how they're feeling, and then together you learn from it and you move on. And we had a real good discussion. A lot of the senior players had a good chat, and some of the younger players had their views as well. Just on certain aspects of how we've been playing, what we've maybe not been doing, as well as what we had been doing in the past. And there was no It wasn't like the last rites given to anyone. It was just really about how do we move forward as a team, together, collectively, and yeah, go and win games of football. After the meeting, we had a really good, high tempo, energetic session. Finished off with a bit of hard work. Boys were absolutely magnificent, put in a real hard shift, drove each other on, sort of standards what I would expect. And then as I'm driving in my drive, I get a phone call from the president. The telephone discussion was very simple. It's been a unanimous decision within the committee, and we don't feel you're the right person to take the club forward anymore. And my immediate response was, well, I hope you're ready for what's coming. I won't lie, that was my response. And I put the phone down. I'm not someone who's going to leave the club under a dark cloud. I sit here proud as a manager of Arthurlie, previous manager of Arthurlie now, taking them to a Scottish Cup final last year. Equalled a all-time consecutive clean sheet record this season. Sit with the lowest goals scored against Tally in the league. Got 6 and 7 games in hand. And yes, we've hit a blip. That's football. It happens. It's how you recover from it. But
Colin, sorry,
yes,
is it a blip? Is it a blip? But because teams lose games, mate. It's
you
one of the
can't
most
turn up.
competitive divisions in the country. And at any level of football, it's one of the most competitive divisions. You're talking about a division that Johnson Borough struggled to get out of, that St Caddock struggled to get out of, that Drumchapel struggled to get out of, that Benburb struggled to get out of, that Gartcairn struggled to get out of. Is it a blip? I don't think it's a blip, Colin.
It's football, right? It's football. You're not going to turn up and win every single game of football. You have to be prepared for difficult times in football. You have to treat football with respect, and if you don't, sometimes difficult moments come, and it's how you recover from those difficult moments, how you recover as a club, how you recover individually, collectively. That division is, in my opinion, the hardest division without doubt. I've been in the second, I've been in the Prem, and I've now been in the first, and it is without doubt the hardest division.
And I would agree with you, and any manager would agree with you as well. You mentioned, Colin, that you've yesterday you've had a quality training session. You felt like the boys have drove each other on. They've got maybe the bit in between their teeth. Good session, and it's ended with some really hard work. And your mind is like, let's get into the next session. You're training on Wednesday as well, don't you? Is that right?
Monday, Thursday. Yeah.
So you're then looking forward to the Thursday session. So that phone call must have been so disappointing for you.
Yeah, it knocked the stuffing out of me. It's took me by complete surprise. Reflecting now, am I shocked? No, probably not. And that's not through my performance as a manager, but just on ethics and morals of the club, I guess. The people running the club. I'm not going to bash people, I really haven't. But reflecting back, I'm not surprised.
I'm going to just bring up I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. I'm going to bring it up here. Let me know if I disappear here. I'm going to try not to. Can you still see me okay, mate? Yeah?
Yeah, all good.
Right, so you're going to just take a wee snippet of your statement. Talk about lack of professionalism, the audacity they've shown after everything I've done for the club, from providing loans to the club for what's to be a week, to receiving the money back in instalments over a year, to pay back, to paying wages to players. Personally, still sitting owed money. Now that there, for me, shows probably the character of you and your determination to have the best squad available. Now, listen, there's managers out there that have done it. I know it. I've done it myself at amateur level. But it's maybe not quite the same. You let boys away with tenors every Sunday for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, and before you know it, they're sitting with a tab at 120 quid, and you essentially don't know what to do with it. However, you've taken money out your own pocket to play players at semi-professional level. That must it's got to leave a bitter taste in your mouth, Colin.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into details of it, right, Paul. This isn't the purpose of it, right? But yes, I have stupidly invested myself into the club. Arthurlie is a club that I think it's Marmite, right? For people, you either love it or you hate it.
You ask a Bob fan that one, mate.
I fell in love with the club. I won't lie. Just the ambience of the club, in my opinion, good historical junior club, sitting on the sort of the shoulders of being a giant, really, but structurally it's not there. So you want the best. You want to really drive that club forward, and I found myself invested in it emotionally, and then obviously that led to that being financially as well, to help the people around the club, to try and make the club the best possible version of Arthurlie that it could.
Yeah.
And reality is that that's come back and bit me. That's life. I learn from it. I dust myself down and I go again. Of course, I take lessons learned from it, but that's life, right? It's people. It's not. That's not football. That's just life. People take advantage of you, and when you're no further use to them, in their opinion, they get rid of you, or they throw you to the dirt, or the wolves, or whatever term you want to use. That's just life.
From somebody on the outside looking into Arthurlie, and somebody that spent a lot of time in Barhead, and by the way, I've been to plenty of Arthurlie games because my wee boy goes to Cross Arthurlie Primary, and part of Arthurlie's remit of getting youngsters into the games. At one point, I don't think they do it anymore, but at one point they would let the kids in for free. I think that may still happen, right? But if you were across Arthurlie, if you went across Arthurlie school, then they would invite you to watch it, and Lewis had done that loads. But I'm a football guy on the outside looking in, and I know this is an example of a lot of clubs in the west of Scotland. Now, I'm not saying that it's not correct, it's not the right way to go about things, but Arthurlie seems to be one of those clubs that's in the hands of another generation that are maybe struggling to jump into the next generation. And I think, again, from the outside looking in, there is clubs other than Arthurlie that are like that, and these guys are absolute stalwarts, right? I'm not saying that these guys are not good people, but do you think that a lot of these older guys involved at a club would need a bit of guidance for younger guys? I'm trying to think of people that Stevie Conley's a great guy, right? I've known Stevie all my days. In Barhead, was his neighbour for many years. Guys like Stephen,
and left the club under a grey cloud. But let's not go into it.
Yeah, we need more people. We need more people, maybe of that generation, to be
absolutely
taking clubs by. I'll put a perfect example. Again, I don't know how accurate I'll be with this, but I'll put it on the table. I heard last year that there was an auction for Arthurlie to acquire a bit of land that was down next to where the B&M and all. I don't know exactly where it is, but in behind that sort of general direction. And I was told that the committee and members now, if you're a member or a season ticket holder, you have a vote with Arthurlie, don't you? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I was told that was going to be probably unanimously voted against. Who? In what world are you voting against it? Is that where the club's at? That you've got guys, in their 60s and 70s just want to live like that. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, because Arthurlie's, sorry, I was going to say New Dunterley Park. That'll be the name. Dunterley Park is a great place to go and play football, right? I know it bogs up in the winter and this and that. Players love to go there, but ultimately
traditional, but ultimately
for a club that's quite clearly in financial disarray. For a club to be making money, they need to have an artificial surface where they can invite Barhead Youth Club out with Barhead. You'll have the pitch booked 4 or 5 slots on a Sunday, 4 or 5 slots on a Saturday, out with your normal Arthurlie games. What is holding Arthurlie back, Colin?
I wouldn't like to answer that in detail. The high level answer is that if you drive an old 20-year-old car and don't want to get rid of it, and it becomes a classical car, you then put it in a garage and park it.
By the way, that's a great. I love that. Did you just make that up yourself there?
Yeah, as I'm talking, I'm making it up, mate.
Listen, I love that. It's a good analogy, mate. It's absolutely spot on. Listen, that's what I said. Like, I think we need to be dead on. It is 24 hours, mate, and we're not here to berate people. We're not here to berate clubs, but we need a wee bit of understanding and how a team. Let me just bring this up. I got to the side. I'm not looking away from you, mate. I've just got the league table. How a team that have lost 4 games all season, that have conceded 15 all season, conceded a less in the league. Okay, goal scoring could be a wee bit better than past. Yeah, and they've got 6 games in hand. How does a committee go from that to moving on the manager?
And let's say, and you beat the West of Scotland League champions 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In a cup, and you beat Gartcairn, and you beat Beef, and you beat Troon, who are sitting second in the league table. And let me say, beat Troon, and I shouldn't be disrespectful in Troon in any way, comfortably.
Yeah.
To come to this decision, and just on a football matter, we as a management team, together with our players, broke records this season already.
Yep.
We're the only team, I think, from the 80s that have went deep into 3 cup competitions. We're, as I said, we equalled the all-time record of clean sheets. And we are on track to get promoted. Listen, the club's ambition or whatever is to get promoted. Me being me put pressure on me and the players to win the league. That's my drive.
Yeah.
Finishing second or third or fourth and getting promoted doesn't interest me. That's not my drive. That's not my ambition. I don't want to take second prizes. I want to go as winners. I've got a winning mentality.
Yep.
At anything I do, and my players have that as well. Unfortunately, circumstantial impacted that quite considerably. Off the field issues, and as I wrote in my statement on Friday night, I sent a message into our committee chat asking if players' wages would be there on Saturday. President, Vice President, and the Treasurer and myself on the chat, and I didn't get a single response. I then went into the club on Saturday and asked what's happening with wages. The first member didn't know. The second member, it'll be Thursday. That's not good enough.
No, it's not.
That's not good enough. See, when you go to a restaurant, you have to pay your bill before you leave. Their players have a signed contract. They should be paid after a Saturday, after going and fulfilling their duties and performing and playing what they're contractually paid to do. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, Paul, but the Monday before the Clydebank game, my players refused to train collectively with the management team because of unpaid wages.
Yeah.
That's not my responsibility. I'm there to manage the football club. But we galvanised ourselves and we went out and we beat Clydebank. And then we were promised it won't happen again. There's funding in place. It's happened 3 times since then.
You mentioned on your statement, Colin, that it's happened 9 times this season. That's just unacceptable.
It's and at what level of football would that be acceptable? I wouldn't allow my boys' club player to turn up and not pay fees 9 times. So how's it acceptable at a semi-professional level where you're trying to push for promotion, drive standards within your club, make sure that you're delivering the best version of Arthurlie, and there's a continuation of non-payment of players' wages? As a player, it's only going to frustrate you. You don't know. The committee don't know each and every single person's circumstances.
Yeah.
Boys might need that for the mortgage. They might need that to give to their wife to go out shopping on a Saturday so they can come and play football. They might need it to pay for their car. They might need it for their night out. That's none of your business. You're not doing the player a favour by paying him his wages.
Oh, absolutely, mate. I'm 100% in agreement with you there, like, and I think you're listen, if you speak to most of your boys, like you said, it doesn't matter what they're using the money for, but most of the boys will be using it for a mortgage. The guys that I've spoke to tell me that they play football to pay their mortgage. It's and especially now, higher wages at semi-professional level have come into prominence now. You know, players are on a decent wage. Players could probably now cover their mortgage. You know,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. Listen, what's happened in Western Scotland football, junior football, with wages, it doesn't matter who's driven it. It's there. It's the animal that it's became.
Yeah.
And either you stick or you twist. You either stand up and say, I can't afford it, leave your ego at the front door and you can down a scale.
Yeah.
Or you find a way.
So there's quite clearly financial difficulties at the club, right? That's there. As proof as the pudding is to see. Now, the fella who is a Canadian, the Norman guy, is he from Canada or America? He's Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah.
So got a huge community in Barhead, and how many fans are coming into the club maybe every week? 150 to 200, or is that more than that? Maybe about that.
Yeah,
Obviously, the bigger
yeah,
games.
It really depends on. Listen, they're Arthurlie as a club. They're stuck in between St Mirren fans, Celtic fans, Rangers fans.
Yeah.
Coming to games. So St Mirren at home, the crowds diminish slightly. Celtic and St Mirren, it impacts it even further.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be a driver to paying wages. Is how many people can pay it. Your budget is set at the beginning of the year from what you have or what revenue you've earned the year before. We got to the Scottish Cup final. The pitch was filled from 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we made £1,000 profit supposedly.
Are the committee and the people in the background at the club doing enough to? Well,
let me answer that question. Let me answer that question. We got 2 sponsors this year for kits, right? Two sponsors this year for kits. One for training, tracksuits, t-shirts, training wear, bags for the players, and management kit. Where did those 2 sponsorships come from?
You 100%. I know you're going to tell
me.
Me and
Gary. Gary Carroll as well put a lot of work in getting sponsorship. Me and Gary Carroll.
There's not. So that's you. I had a similar conversation with Jamie before, obviously, the money came into Johnson Borough, and he said the same. He's like, you're not just a football manager anymore.
No,
and this is where I go back to, Colin.
Yeah,
you need young blood in football teams now to be the driver. The Barhead community, good community. It's a town that everybody is up. They are together. Right? There's no doubt about that. I'm not from the town, but I lived in the town for a long time, and that's something that I noticed, that they are very much Barhead people for Barhead people. What can the community do to help Arthurlie Football Club, and what will happen to Arthurlie Football Club if the community don't get involved?
Listen, there's a serious lack of leadership. First of all, there's a serious lack of vision. You have to have these things in place before you go to your community. You need to have a business plan, a business case. End of the day, a football club is like a business. It has to be set up properly. You have to have a vision. You have to have your structure correct. You have to have your pathway to make sure you're generating from under 10s all the way through to under 20s, and that's all feeding into your first team. They had it.
Sorry,
They had the Barhead Football Club feeding into Arthur was there, and it was, I'm not going to use the word sabotage, but because of facilities, non-payment of facilities, again, ruined their relationship.
So again, I knew about that, but and that was something that was actually put out there quite for the whole the whole world to see that.
I mean, if you sorry to interrupt you.
No, on you go,
if you think how many kids are at Barhead Youth Football Club,
yeah,
how many of those kids' parents have businesses, working businesses around the area? Why would they promote to sponsor Arthurlie when their kids' teams at Barhead Football Club are being impacted?
Yeah, it's almost like Barhead. It's almost like Barhead Youth Football Club is the biggest football team in the town, and they are.
Yeah.
It just so happens so that Arthurlie are a junior side, and there'll be people that maybe don't like me saying that, but Barhead Youth Football Club are the biggest football team in the town. So why would you ruin a relationship with
clash of characters, clash of, I don't know. I don't want to go into the terms too much, but I would say potentially people having different agendas. Too many. What's the saying? Too many.
Spoil the broth.
Spoil the broth. Yeah.
Aye, too many cooks spoil the broth.
Yeah. So there really
too many chiefs know enough Indians.
Yeah, there should be an alignment there. But to have an alignment, you have to have a vision. Everyone has to buy into that vision. Someone needs to lead it. Leadership qualities. There's nothing there. There's no leadership qualities. It's run by an iron fist. But listen, it's not my problem anymore.
I know, obviously, the 4 or 5 guys who are involved at the club, and they do a smashing job at what they do. But ultimately, I think what Arthurlie needs is somebody a bit younger, somebody with a bit more vision that can take the lead with an iron fist. You mentioned there, but what for somebody that I do have a fond relationship with Arthurlie, and I don't want to see. I was gutted for you first and foremost, Colin, because when I started doing these mad daft interviews in cars and taking people out in fucking joyrides and stuff like that, you were the first person to do it with us. And when I seen that statement yesterday, no for you, when I seen the small statement and I actually thought it was very small, and I thought it was really impersonal and a bit shite, if I'm going to be honest with you, for a guy that's obviously put his own money into it.
Disrespectful is what it is. It's disrespectful. I mean, even but I see the money side of it, right? I'll be honest, it's immaterial. Money is immaterial. It's you can go there. I go there, earn money tomorrow. Money doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
Morals, respect, integrity, all these things are what mean more to me. And the statement that was released was extremely disrespectful.
Terrible.
Took the Scottish Cup final last year. I've done everything in my power to drive the club forward, and I just thought that it was demoralising. I'll be honest, it was demoralising. But listen, I'm a new man today. I woke up this morning, I've got my 4 beautiful kids, my wife next to me, and we go again. It's simple as that.
Here, mate, that's absolutely on the money, innit? Because see, at the end of the day, it's night, innit? Do you know, it's just it will hurt for a wee bit of time, and ultimately, mate, you're already getting pinpointed for the Gart Cairn job, man. So I'll keep a wee eye on that one. You know what I mean? But
nah, we'll see. Listen, there's nothing in the pipeline. Obviously, it is raw. I had a few messages today from several people, but we'll see what happens. Am I wanting to go straight back in? Absolutely. I've now been out of football since I was 4 years old. It's what I live and breathe. My wife doesn't want me kicking about the house on Saturday. I'll drive her absolute mental. So it's what I live and breathe. It's what I love. Me personally, I need it. I need that injection. I need the dressing room. I need to have a challenge. I enjoy the challenge every week of going watching teams and tactically seeing how I can go and take something from the training field onto the pitch and bring success. And that team spirit and leadership is what really gets me going. It's what excites me. And I've not lost that. I've not lost that whatsoever. It hasn't like I don't have a sour taste in my mouth about football. Unfortunately, you come across things in life and challenges in life that you have to overcome. Not everyone's in the same wavelength as you, but one thing I'll always hold is my integrity and my morals, and I'll always be respectful.
if the club, I noticed Gary posted up earlier on today, and he's a club legend. You're obviously fond of Gary. He was he was a captain at one point as well for you. He's made the step up to be your assistant manager due to injury, I think it was. Just how important is it to mention Gary, because he's been there through thick and thin, and it looks like he's doing what he deems the right thing to do. He's going to lead the club this weekend, and then that'll be him done as well. That's a huge loss.
Gary is my right side. I'll be honest. When we went into this relationship of being my assistant manager, he just got it. He just got me straight away. And as a manager who's maybe as invested as I was, Gary really picked up that slack of player management. And when I say that, what I mean is maybe having those wee conversations individually with players. We'll have a discussion. I'll maybe say something that I'm not happy about. Gary will go and relay that, and then that's when standards improve again. And we just picked up those wee bits that were maybe missing that I never had the time to do or whatever else. And we just had a fantastic bond together. We worked really hard together. We generally speaking, every manager will probably say this, but we generally speak to each other 2 or 3 hours a day.
Speak to each other more than you speak to your wives.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's your investment in your team. And we've just clicked. He's became a really, really good friend of mine. He's he's one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet.
Weird accent.
Weird accent. Weird accent. But not a nicer guy you'll ever meet in your life. And that I guarantee you. Would protect players through anything as well. As being a captain for so long, his first thought is the player.
Yeah.
Which is commendable. You know, it's fantastic.
You need more Gary Carrolls in life. I want to touch on something with you, Colin. I think it's been a fantastic season for Arthurlie. That's down to you, down to Gary, down to the players, Colette, the physio, everybody that's driving the team forward. This has probably came about purely over the last sort of 4 weeks, where results maybe haven't been as good as they have been. But as we said earlier on in the show, that's football. I think seeing Tamagotchi and Kieran Brophy go on the transfer list, was that more of a you thing, or was that because they weren't getting paid? And is that difficult?
Listen, the key message from the start of the season, from the very first session, is we've got to need 20 boys. We've got to need 20 boys with enough quality that if you're replacing one player, that same quality is coming on the pitch.
Yeah.
Last season, we didn't have that. We really lacked in depth last
You
season.
didn't have a bench last season, mate?
No, we really lacked. And not having a 20s and not having that structure in place really affects you. So having that depth was key.
Yeah.
Right? But with that depth comes challenges. And for me, a constant, clear communication from myself was important. That we kept reiterating the message. We need 20 boys. Everyone gets a chance, and when your chance comes, you have to take it.
Yeah.
Tam, first of all, obviously started getting frustrated, just wanted to play football,
Yeah.
and was in and out the team. And at the player's request, listen, I have a fantastic relationship with Tam. I still do. He put me in touch with his cousin to do PT. But it's football. There's nothing personal. It's football matters. He wanted to go and play consistently, and maybe thought there was opportunities that would come his way for him to go and play. That didn't happen. It dragged on a couple of weeks longer, and we had an honest conversation. I said, "Look, Tam, I can't play you whilst you're on the transfer list. There's games now coming up where if I do my analysis, I'm looking at how can I get a ball into striker's feet, suck defenders in, and then go and play isolate wingers or play in behind. And you're that striker for me, but I can't do that if you're sitting on the list." So we agreed that obviously he would come off the list, and on Saturday, exactly how I thought the game plan would be. Cam's hold the ball in, we got in behind, we got wide, we just lacked that little bit of last bit of quality, last bit of faith, last bit of belief. It's been happening, but it's a switch, right? You just need that one to fall, and then all of a sudden everything's rosy again. We've lost the last 3 games 1-0 by a single goal. We battered Musselburgh, our goalkeeper getting man of the match. Saturday we huffed and puffed, and winning again we huffed and puffed a bit, and then before that we gave Vale Clyde at Vale Clyde. We beat them, was it 3-1, and quite comfortably. So like as you said, it's not demoralising. Like we're losing every week. 2 weeks ago we beat Vale Clyde comfortably, and we just had a couple of bad results after that. And I know you're going to touch on wanting me to go into Kieran Brophy, which is fine. I'm more than happy to talk about it. Kieran Brophy is a player that I bought, first and foremost. I bought knowing that Jamie would eventually get a job, and there would be that risk of that relationship maybe wanting to work together again. That's fine. I was comfortable with it. We bought Kieran, as I said, to be part of a squad, not to be a 10 or 11 or whatever, to be part of a squad. And when the time and his turn came to play, it was up to him. I know I listened to Jamie, actually get sent the interview herself that we scored 21 goals and whatever else.
Yeah.
Playing off the left hand side. I'm healing the left hand side. He's never got to play in front of Aaron Healy. It's just a reality. He's not a striker. He's not a 9. And it just didn't work out. That's just football. Listen, I'm not going to diss the kid whatsoever. He's a good lad. He's got
He's a great boy.
he's got great potential. He maybe needs to unlock more of his potential. And listen, he played against Rutherglen Glencairn. We lost 3-1, 4-1 a couple of weeks ago. He was then very sick against Vale Clyde, never trained a full week. We won 3-1. He then played against Kilwinning, and we huffed and puffed. We then played Musselburgh, and we took him out the team because we wanted to go a wee bit more aggression in the team. We put Ryan McGregor in there. And Kieran decided that it was a trigger for him. He decided not to warm up with the team. He decided that he wouldn't warm up on the sidelines. And this is decisions that he made, not me. He, after the game, communicated to me directly, put me on the list in that tone. These are his decisions, not mine. Unfortunately, that's just the way it happened. It didn't work. It's football. It's nothing
That old
personal.
saying, calling it, that's football.
It's nothing personal.
You've mentioned there with Tam that you've got a good relationship with him and that. And I don't know Tam awfully well. I've known who he is for a number of years, and I've seen him play for amateur teams. I've seen him play for other junior teams, and I do think there's a lot of quality there. But Tam's off the transfer list now, isn't he? Kieran still remains on it.
Yes.
But that's probably not a
But
part.
that won't be my.
I said it won't be a part.
I couldn't care less, mate, to be honest with you.
I think one of the reasons why we got you on here was because you felt that you maybe owed maybe the Arthurlie support a wee bit of not so much notice, but maybe a thanks. In your statement, there's quite a lot of fans there absolutely gutted for you, mate. As the now former Arthurlie manager, what do you say to the supporters of Arthurlie Football Club?
Yeah, I think as I said in my statement, honestly, it was genuinely an honour to be the manager of Arthurlie. Biggest privilege of my managing career was leading the team out in the Scottish Cup final, without doubt. I think I have left the team in a fantastic place. They have got real excitement to go and watch Arthurlie with the quality of players that they've got. And everything that I've done was for the love of your club. You have a fantastic aura of a club. And I can only wish you all the success there. The fans were good with me. I think they appreciated the style of play that we tried to play, and we actually tried to play football. We brought a brand of football that I hope they enjoyed. And Duntley isn't an easy place to play football either. So the travelling support probably got more enjoyment when we played away or on an Astro with the brand of football that we play. And listen, I can only wish you all success. I know that you will get promoted because the players have an unbelievable togetherness. They are a fantastic group of players. It's the best dressing room I've ever managed, without doubt. We have some real good people in that dressing room. People that I would call good friends now. That I'll be there on Saturday to support the boys and say goodbye because I would not allow anyone to take that away from me. Again, it's a respect thing. Jordan Layden, as an example, has probably been playing with a hairline fracture in his foot for the last 6 weeks for me.
That's so Jordan.
Yeah, it's just Jordan. I've got players making sacrifices left, right, and centre, and it is my respect to them that I come and thank them for everything, which I will do on Saturday.
It's probably the best way to end this. What can the community and the fans do to help there, because it is their club. It's not the committee's club. It's not your club. It's not the players' club. It's Barhead's club. It's the fans' club. What can the fans do to help Arthurlie? Because listen, I don't care what anybody says, and I'll put it out there. It looks like Arthurlie are in a bit of a crisis at the moment. What can the committee help?
I think what you've seen with the Scottish Cup final is that there is a right good community within Barhead. The support that we got at the Cup final was incredible. I had every hair in my body sticking up, walking out of Dunterley to go on the bus. I was the proudest man in Scotland. And I think that getting that local community back in the gates, back in supporting the team, is what's really needed to drive Arthurlie forwards. They're relying on football. They're relying on punters coming in and spending a £5 or a £10 at a game. And I can only emphasise on that and going back to the boys. You've got a fantastic team to support the boys. The more you go and support the boys, the more they'll be paid in time, the more they'll perform for you.
I think that's spot on. If you are in Barhead or out with Barhead, it could even be for Nielsen. You could do that if you want. Barhead, but Barhead, surrounding areas. If you've got a fondness of Arthurlie, and they probably need you more than they do than ever. Try and get yourself along to a game. They aren't at Dunterley this Saturday. They're away to Kilburn Lakeside. What did Gary say?
They've got a cup final in 2 weeks against the winning.
Yeah,
that's what
and I would imagine you've got 14 cup finals because you get 14 games still to play. That's a lot of football when you consider winning. I've only got eight
it's an incredible amount of football. It's 42 points, is it? Am I right in saying that?
I mean, my maths is shocking, mate, to be fair. So I don't
pretty sure it's 42 points still to play for.
So that is a lot of points. Obviously not going to get the chance to do the team talk on, or maybe you will, I don't know. Not going to get a chance to officially do the team talk on Saturday. What does Gary Carroll have to say to the boys, mate?
I don't think Gary's his own man. He will address it in his own way. Gary has made it clear that it's his last game. And I'm sure the boys will galvanise themselves and go and put on a performance that will make me proud watching them. And obviously Gary has his last sort of hurrah as part of Arthurlie.
Well, listen, Colin, we will, as a West of Scotland show, we'll keep an eye on what's happening at the club, who's going to take it on, who's going to maybe apply. Obviously, we always hear stuff through the grapevine. Keep us in mind if you hear anything, mate. I'm kidding on. But listen, genuinely one of the good football guys that I've met in the game, and it is 24 hours since obviously been relieved of duties or thereabouts, and it is quite raw, and I really, really appreciate you coming on, mate. And again, I want to put it out there, we didn't do this to belittle Arthurlie or belittle anybody at the club. We did it to give Colin a platform to get across his thoughts. I know he did it in his statement yesterday, but it's always kind of good just to get on, especially we're trying to build a brand where West of Scotland football is our thing, amongst others. But need to do this a bit more, getting managers on. But Colin, listen, I don't think you'll be out the game too long. I know you get a wee boys football, haven't you? It's not quite the same.
Yeah, I take two of my boys' teams for punishment. So I take.
I was going to say you definitely are glutton for punishment, definitely.
Yeah,
but I don't think you'll be out the game too long. Listen, there's jobs out there at the moment. There is jobs to be applied for, and no doubt there'll be something that will come up. We've obviously seen Jamie make that step into Irvine Meadow, who's doing an incredible job there as well. But listen, Colin, I hope to see you soon, mate, and all the very best. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you providing me the opportunity.